Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we are going to be talking about something that I have posted about and talked about in the past. I still think it's really important because a lot of people still come to me asking about this in new cosmetic consultations. Let's talk about Morpheus, fat loss, and why some people look 10, 15, 20 years older after they have a Morpheus treatment. So in order to understand what's happening, let's talk about what Morpheus is in general. So it's a radio frequency microneedling device. So that means that this device has needles on the end that get inserted into your skin. And that's the microneedling part, right? We all know good old-fashioned microneedling. So what is radio frequency microneedling? So that is when radio frequency energy gets delivered at the tips of the needles in your skin. And why is this important? Because when radiofrequency energy gets delivered into the dermis, which is the second layer in our skin, it can increase collagen, stimulate some elastin. It can even do some tightening. The problem with radiofrequency microneedling is that the needles go so deep that they are not hitting the epidermis. They're not hitting the dermis. They're hitting that layer of what we call subcutaneous fat, or fat under the skin above the muscle and fascia and bone and other layers that keeps our skin nice and plump and youthful. A lot of volume restoration techniques like dilute BDS, Sculptra, dermal filler, we're restoring some of that lost fat. So the problem with the Morpheus treatment is not the Morpheus. It bothers me when people say, Morpheus is such a bad treatment, don't ever get Morpheus. It's not the Morpheus. Morpheus is great technology, like other radiofrequency microneedling and radiofrequency technology. They're great devices. They're great technology. There's nothing wrong with the Morpheus device. This is 100% a provider problem. This is not the device. It's how the device is being used. Anyone who has facial fat loss after a radiofrequency microneedling device use or session, that is because your provider misused the technology and made a mistake. They put the needles too deep into your skin and delivered that energy to heat up the fat. When fat gets warmed, or cold for that matter, fat gets destroyed. Those fat cells, you can heat fat and it would get destroyed. Think of when you put steak on a barbecue. If you put a fatty steak on the barbecue and heat it up, all that fat melts off. Well, similar when you're having a radiofrequency microneedling treatment. And your provider, instead of putting those needles into the dermis, they put them into the subcutaneous fat. It's too deep. One thing I hear from my students at the Laser Institute is that they have this in their mind that the deeper a laser goes or an energy-based device goes, the better results they're going to get for patients. And that just is not the case. So if you look at the treatments of Morpheus that are being done, you want to stay at the right plane in the dermis. If you go to the subcutaneous fat, you will heat the fat and you'll lose that fat, which is great for places where you want to target it, but the face is not the place to get rid of subcutaneous fat. The thing about the radiofrequency microneedling devices is that those tips, the needles will go up to 4 millimeters deep, and some of them even 8 millimeters deep. That's almost a full centimeter. You're for sure in subcutaneous fat if you go 4 millimeters deep anywhere on the face. The nuance with lasers and energy-based devices is that different cosmetic subunits of the face have different thicknesses of epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous fat. So you cannot use the radiofrequency microneedling devices at the same depth in the eye area, on the cheek area, around the lips, on the nose, on the neck and chest. All of those cosmetic subunits require you to change the settings, change the depth, and change the amount of energy, the radiofrequency energy that your energy-based device is applying. So, like all other energy-based devices and lasers, in order to safely do Morpheus or radiofrequency microneedling devices, you really need specific training on the skin, the cosmetic subunits of the skin, and then also the device and how to use that device properly for patients in their cosmetic subunits. Let's just set the record straight. Morpheus is a great device. Radiofrequency microneedling devices are excellent. They have great results when used by the right person and used with correct settings. So all of these cases of disasters after Morpheus, which are, all over social media, all over news, Reddit, Facebook groups, etc., that is not a Morpheus problem. It is a provider problem. It's a mistake that the providers are doing, unfortunately. So the question is, if you or your friend have had this happen to you, there are things you can do about it. You do not have to give up. Let's talk about some things we can do to replace some of that subcutaneous fat, get that skin back to where it was before that treatment. Okay, so first you can talk about fat transfers. They can borrow some fat from your abdomen or other places and put it directly into your face. Okay, that's a great option for you. Another option would be to do dilute radius or Sculptra. Both of these are going to be procedures. They're pretty painless, and what they do is they build collagen over 6 to 12 months after that procedure. That's a great option for people that have suffered from, post-Morpheus fat loss. So if you or your friend are suffering from a complication from a Morpheus treatment or other radiofrequency microneedling treatment, definitely see a cosmetic expert, a board-certified dermatologist, someone with a fellowship in lasers and cosmetics. There's definitely hope to restore what was lost. So thank you so much for listening to this episode about Morpheus and the complications of that procedure. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM or write a comment below. Thank you so much and see you next time.